Okay, so as you can see there, this is probably the image that you've seen when you signed up for today on the workshop, our Lunch and Learn. And I really want to start by thanking you for spending your lunch break with us. And I really mean that sincerely. You know, you could be anywhere else, but whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I want to congratulate you actually, because this is my guess. My guess is that you're someone that knows the impact that you make on others really makes a difference. We may not see it right now, but planting seeds is actually what brings fruit, right? So we may be in a season of planting seeds when we're making an impact on other people. And we may not see the difference, but I want to assure you that what you're doing by making a commitment to spend your lunch learning, I mean, who does that, right? Like just awesome people like you guys, right? We're here to learn, to connect. We could be anywhere else, but I thank you and I congratulate you for doing that. There's something that's said that I truly believe in, and it's something like this, where it says, when the leader stops learning, the leader becomes the lid to everyone's growth. If you're writing notes, write that down. When the leader stops learning, the leader becomes the lid to everyone's growth. So I seriously thank you for taking time today. Now, whether you're just curious about today's topic or you're passionate about it like I am, I have two promises for you. I want you to hold me to them. Now, my first promise is that I promise in the next 60 minutes, I will pour out everything that I can about this topic. I've been studying it for a while, and I don't want to hold back. I really want to pour out everything I can in 60 minutes about this with the research and everything that I've done. Now, the next thing, I want to give you an upfront thing right here in the beginning. I'll promise to offer you an opportunity for continued development for those that are ready after, because there's so much we can do in 60 minutes, and I'll pour everything I can into here, but I'll also offer that at the end. Now, if that's okay with you, let's start with some interaction. Just type a yes in the chat. Type a yes in the chat if you're okay with that. And let's see how I can see the chat feature. There we go. Okay. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So we see a yes there. Now let's go ahead. Now I have one question to help us get started. First question, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely serious and 1 being not so serious, how serious do you think burnout is? How serious do you think burnout is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very serious, 1 being not so serious? Thank you. I see 10s, I see 8s, I see 9.5s. Thank you so much. I see everyone. Thank you guys so much. Okay, awesome. So with that being said, if we haven't met yet, I'd like to introduce myself to you. I'm your host for today's training. My name is Jordan Mossman. I'm the founder of JM Leadership Group. This is where we give tools, tips, and training for a healthy and sustainable leadership life. I'm also a trained member with the John Maxwell team for coaching, speaking, and training. I also oversee a children's ministry where we're committed to supporting the next generation of leaders. Also, as you see on the slide there, I'm an author of an upcoming book, and the book is called Leadership Secrets of a Servant Speaker. And why that's there is because this is where this training comes from. In the book will open up with what we'll talk about today in season. So you're getting a chance to experience the content from the book before it's even pre-released. It's not even pre-released, guys. I don't even have it pre-released. And I just want to pour out content to kind of share. So that way we don't have to hold these principles back before it's published. You know what I mean? Sometimes we wait on the publishing side and all the logistics behind that, but why wait? Let's just start pouring that out already. So let's see here now. Awesome. Okay. So it was in my early 20s that I started applying all the lessons that I was taught as a child. I was working 3 jobs. I was serving in the Army. I had a side business that I was growing. I got married and I started a family. If I can remember well, that's when I first started to feel the tension. Now, the tension I'm talking about is the tension between I want to provide for my family, but I also want to be there for my family. Have you felt that before? I want to show my children how to go for their dreams, by going for my dreams, but I also want to support their dreams and my wife's dreams. And how do I do it all? The tension between I want to live a healthy life, but who has time for that? The tension of I want to lead others well at work, but I also want to lead my family well. Like that tension, that's the tension I'm talking about. And I see some head nods as you guys agree and you guys are relating to what I'm sharing about. Now, as I face this question, I started asking around to see if anyone else was feeling this, or was I just doing something wrong? See, the good news was that it wasn't just me. The bad news was that, well, if I'm honest, I didn't like the advice that I was being given. I would hear things like this. People would tell me, you just got to provide for the family. So they just got to understand. Or they would tell me, it's time to work. Don't worry about your health. Or I get advice like, work comes first. You can play later. And it didn't sit right. Something was like, okay, but well, call me crazy. I'm not the type of person to knock something if I haven't tried it. So even though as crazy as that sound, I tried it. I took that advice and I tried it. I worked several jobs, putting in ridiculous amounts of hours. I attended trainings to better my work skills. And the whole time through this, my loving family supported me in this. Now, I would say things like, one day it'll change. What was really happening was that it was changing me and weakening me, slowly burning me out. Now, things like my health suffered. My health suffered because I gave it zero time. My sleep suffered because I took more from it, and I started using things like energy drinks and uppers to keep me going. And first it was one, then it was two, then it was three, then it was four, and it was a never-ending chase. Some of you can relate. My marriage suffered. My marriage suffered because I just wasn't present. Wasn't present. Here's the crazy part. Even though all of those parts were suffering, I was successful at work and business. I was actually getting like recognized and awards and promotions at work like crazy. But I would remember feeling unfulfilled. Have you ever been there? Have you ever accomplished something and was surprised how empty the achievement felt? Let me know in the chat. Have you ever accomplished something and was surprised on how empty the achievement felt? It's a real feeling, you go, Ryan. It really is. It brings up some real emotions. Let me go in. I'm gonna let a few more people in though. And that's not good. That can't make anybody feel good, right? Like what? But that was the message that I was getting, was you had to choose. And the crazy part is when you do that, you get promoted, you get success, you get like it was like, so it was like feeding it in a sense, if you know what I mean. Now, if you've ever felt that, then my mission is that you never experience that again. If you haven't felt that, my mission is that you never have to. It's I'll do my best to explain why. I'll do my best to explain why. Now, no one was talking to me about burnout. I didn't even know about this thing, especially in leadership circles, especially in like management. Now, maybe you're not married, or maybe you don't even have children, but depression doesn't care. Depression hits everyone. It's a major contributor to weakening your immune system. Your health will suffer. Also, depression is unhealthy stress that contributes to weakening our character. We might have good character to start today, but bad company disrupts good character every time, every single time. This environment isn't good for anyone. Now, that's why I said it's so important. Now, I became passionate, as you can see. I started to research and learn more about this crazy cycle that leaders seem to get stuck in. Now, it seemed like it was all too common for a leader to hit burnout, take a sabbatical, step down, or quit. And it was just like a constant cycle that we kind of just was okay with. Like, it was like, okay, another one hit and another one hit. And I wasn't okay with that. This is 4 painful truths that I found in my research. Number one, as you can see on there, denial is an accelerator. If you're writing notes, write that down. Denial is an accelerator. This is the language of somebody that's denying that they're burning out. Hello? They'd say, I'm stronger than this, or burnout is for wimps. Or they say, this won't happen to me. Are you short-tempered with things? Do you get a little like edgy with stuff? Maybe less patient with people. Also, maybe more irritated with people or your kids, like more irritated. You just kind of fried. Now, I get that. I mean, I said those things too. Now, every day you remain in denial, you make burnout more likely, not less likely. So you actually feed it more by staying in denial. Now, number 2, you see on there, adjust the pace to carry the weight. Adjust the pace to carry the weight. What does that mean? We feel the weight of burnout, but the real issue is the pace that we're living in. We usually feel like we don't like we have to choose work or family to lessen the weight. Like if I just choose one, then I'll lessen the weight. When the truth is that when you choose one, you actually suffer more. When we pace better, we carry the weight better. We'll cover this more in the details as I break down the season. So stay with us, stay with us. Now, the third one you see is pride is more a factor than anyone wants to admit. No one wants to admit that they're prideful. It's a tough thing, including myself. It's a really tough thing to admit that you're prideful. But pride actually numbs your intuition. You have an intuition that was kind of knocking at you and saying, hey, you should rest, or hey, you shouldn't do that, or hey, you shouldn't. And our pride actually numbs that, and it slows us down, right? It weakens our strength to listen to that. So when I interview leaders recovering from burnout, they always say things like, I knew it was too much, but I didn't seem it was that important. Like, maybe have you ever said that? Like, I knew it was too much, but I didn't think it was this important. Or I thought that I could beat it, right? That's how pride will numb our intuition. Number 4, fear will keep you from getting help. Now, fear of judgment keeps you quiet. We don't want to be judged. Shame of being weak, being ashamed. It feels like failure, right? It feels like a major F stamp on your report card that said you burnt out or you're weak. And it's not. I want you to know, if you ever felt that, that is completely false. That is not what it is. Burnout is not that. Now, once you crash, you have no choice. So we can kind of hide in there and stuff and keep trucking along and think we're okay. But there'll be a time when we'll crash, and that's when you have no choice at that time. Here's some signs of burning out we'll cover real quick. Really easy. Burnout can affect anyone. It's harder for it to sink its claws into you if you have a healthy work-life balance. So we can burn out if you have a safe environment. And we'll talk a lot about that with the seasons. So here's some different things. Exhaustion, if you're feeling exhausted, if you just lost motivation, no motivation for things, if you're suffering in your relationships, if you have health problems that are just kind of growing, chronic negativity, you're just very negative for everything. Work ethic changes. This could work on both ends. Some people going through burnout, they actually work less because their depression is in, but some people actually works more because they're getting rewards from work. You see how that works? So work ethic will change drastically and we'll be stuck in one area. So either way, it can also be a sign of burnout, right? Guys, if you're listening on here, everyone, your health is too important and your life is too short to deliberately stay in an unhealthy environment like this. It's when you're winning on the outside and you're losing on the inside, that's not success. When you're winning on the outside, losing on the inside, that's not success. That's just not, and we all know this stuff. We all know it, right? So what do we do? So I've spent over 10 years learning all leadership strategies that the experts were teaching. I love to read books. So I was reading a ton of books on it, trying to just learn about this. And for the past 10 years, I just trying to figure this thing out, Sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't. A shocking discovery is that I found that some highly taught leadership strategies led me to burnout. I'll say that again. Some highly taught leadership strategies is what led me, if I'd say, to burnout. You heard me right. You heard me right. Why was this? Sometimes they worked and other times they caused the hurt. What was going on? The best way I know how to explain it is like this. If I bought you a gift and I was sure that you liked it. I mean, I seen you looking at this winter coat and you really wanted it. So I go and I get it for you, wrap it up, and I give you your favorite winter coat in the middle of June. What are you going to think? You wear it and you feel like uncomfortable, like hot, like this is not good, right? You don't like it so much, right? What the problem? Like this is that something that you really love, and yet you wanted. Nothing's wrong with the gift. Nothing's wrong with the coat. It's just the wrong season. Nothing's wrong with the leadership strategy. It's the wrong season. So leadership strategies are just like that. You can try to apply a good strategy in the wrong season and you get burnout. I don't know if anyone else is saying that. And if you're going to think about that, you can try to apply a good strategy in the wrong season and you get burnout. You can try to apply a great strategy in the wrong season and you get burnout. Guys, this is huge. Like, I don't know about you, but when I first seen this, like, this was like, like, wait, I could be doing the right things that are being taught, but in the wrong time, and I'm getting burnout. Like, I realized that this is the missing piece. So I couldn't find any teaching on this. And I found out that this is really foundational in healthy leadership. So I started applying this in my life and I started seeing results, started sharing with other people. And here we are today. As I'm working on this book and I'm laying out these seasons that I shared with other people. And one thing that you can kind of share here is seasons first, strategy second. So if you're writing notes, take that down too. Seasons first, strategy second. Seasons first, strategy second. There you go. Now this, you should feel like this really empowers you, because it does. It empowers you that you know what strategies to do and what strategies not to do if that's not your current season. This is freeing. You don't have to feel obligated to apply the same strategies as other people because they may be in a different season. Remember, because when you apply this, you could be misunderstood. You could be misunderstood. Um, Stay committed to healthy leadership, I'd say. Just stay, whether you're misunderstood or not, stay committed to healthy leadership, because when you're the one that lasts the test of time, others will have to ask what you are doing. So what are these seasons you ask about? Before we share that, I'll share one thing. I did a quick interview on Facebook right now, a few months, maybe about a month or two ago, talking about this, and we didn't even get a chance to really market or promote that we were doing a live interview. It was one of those things that was just, we just got on and started talking about it, and there was 2,300 views right on Facebook, and that was, I mean, it's not a number thing. The number is really showing how important this is, how real this is. People actually they want a solution. They feel that tension. They know that there has to be a better answer. There's a few comments, as you can see, is there that was going on, and people was sharing about when they heard about this. And to be honest with you, when I talked about it here, this was super just casual. We was talking about it, but what you're getting here today is actually even more than what we did on this live interview here. So what is these seasons? Now, this is the seasons that you're looking at. It's 4 seasons, and every person has a different season. It's not gonna. It doesn't relate to the annual seasons. It doesn't go in order at times, but it's different times that you're in as a leader, and it's good to recognize. So the first thing you see there is a run season. I call it a run season. RUN, right? This is the season when you're building momentum. If you're at work, this is maybe something that you're trying to start a new system, and you're trying to actually move forward with things. If you're building a business, this is the beginning. You're probably the only one there, but you got to show up early. You got to do different things. If you're leading a family, this is maybe you're teaching your kids a different principle, right? And you have to show up first. You have to build momentum. You're starting something new, right? You're setting a tone. This is a run season. This is when you set the pace. People are looking at you to set the pace, right? Next season is a rest season. So a rest season is a season when you step back and you recover. That's right. Even as a leader, we can step back and rest. This is about being intentional by disconnecting from tasks or assignments. This is when you quiet things down. This is when you have self-care. This is when you do low energy play for anything else. This is important to reconnect to the mission and the vision of why you're doing what you're doing. You really need a rest season, right? And the thing with a rest season, most times it won't just happen accidentally. You have to be intentional with setting a rest season, and you have to know what signs to look for. The next thing you see there is roll, ROLL, roll season. Now, this is a season when you ride or roll with the momentum that you built. Maybe in the beginning, you was actually teaching, a new character or new values at home with your kids. And now they're picking up on it, right? They're picking up on it. So you step back a little and you do what we call a we do, where you let them kind of take a lead, and you're there to kind of coach, you're there to support, but you're letting them take somewhat of a lead. This is where you're actually training really good. This is where you're developing leaders in your team or at work or in your business, and you're really pouring into them. This is when you're discipling other people, maybe in your faith walk, and you're pouring into them, and you step back a little, and you allow others to go ahead and to drive a little, if you say. Now, this is a good time to revisit and do a health check of your system. This season, a row season, it's critical to growing. A lot of people won't intentionally go into a row season, but that'll be their biggest lid to growing. It'll be hard to grow when we're trying to grow in a run season or you're trying to grow in a rest season. You want to grow in a roll season. Well, that kind of rhyme. You want to grow in a roll season. Write that down. It rhymes. Maybe we'll make a jingle or a song out of it. This is the least intentional season. This is the least intentional. But remember, without this, there is no growth. There is no better. The next one you see there is a season of rejoice or a rejoice season. This is a season when you're celebrating all the things that supported you. And you want to celebrate. Here's a little insight. You want to celebrate values that are important to you. You want to celebrate, you want to appreciate everyone, but you want to recognize specific values that people show, because this season also teaches people how to win, right? For children at home, they know how to win when they see that you celebrated honesty or you celebrated respect, right? In a workplace, they want to see if you celebrated being on time and you celebrated perseverance, whatever it is, but you celebrated these values, and it shows people that are watching how I can win by being on this team. So a rejoice season is important to refill, but it's also important to kind of, because people are watching what is celebrated. So this is when you grow together and you strengthen the connection in your team and in your family. Very important season, a rejoice season. So type in the chat right now. I want to hear a little bit from you as we went through this. How many of these seasons did you experience before? 1, 2, 3, or 4? How many did you experience before yourself? 4. Right answer is 4. Awesome. Did you experience just one of them? Maybe you don't even know. Maybe you put a 0. Oh, John said 4. Delphine said 4. Awesome. So we're familiar with these seasons, right? We're familiar. It makes a lot of sense. You're looking at it and you're like, okay, it's not like foreign language. So tell me something new, Jordan. Well, leadership trainings tend to focus on a run season only. Most people just think by default, I'm a leader, I got to run. If you're a leader, you're a runner, right? But what happens when a leader just only runs? That's the quickest way to burn out. They hit a wall, right? There has to be a season of rest. There has to be a season of roll. There has to be a season of rejoice. Let's unpack this a little bit more. Here's a few key steps when you're looking at each season. Number 1, know the season. Remember, we said seasons first, strategy second. Know the season. After that, know the strategy. Then know the shift. We'll cover that a little. What shift do I make now? And then you know how to best serve. So you know how to best serve your team, and also how to take care of yourself by knowing the season first, then knowing the strategy, then knowing the shift. Then you know how to best serve. Remember, it's the pace between the seasons, not the weight. You want to pace and shift between seasons. We'll talk a little bit more about that here. Now, if you're like me, when I came across this, I woke up one morning, was working on the book and working on things and taking on different stuff. And I started to lay this out. And then I was like, okay, wait, boom. And I put these together and I seen it, and then I validated it and I confirmed it to different research. And I don't know about you, but I kind of felt like this. I kind of felt like it's a slam dunk. Like, are you like this? Wait, really? Like, like this is to be burnout proof. We have to start with a healthy foundation. And as you see some NBA player, I put a couple there because you might have a favorite, but it's a slam dunk. It's really, when you're looking at this foundation, you should feel kind of freeing and like, this is a slam dunk. I set the healthy foundation of leadership right from the start by identifying the seasons. That way we know what best serves after that. But other than that, before, if you was anything like me, what I was used to is you just look at different strategies. Oh, am I not coming in? The volume. Testing. Let's see if the volume is coming in. Testing, 1, 2, testing. Can you hear me okay now? Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me good? Awesome. Sorry, we got a little microphone check, chickadee check, microphone check, 2, check. Okay, microphone's working good. Well, you're looking at Kobe and you're looking at Michael Jordan on the screen. And why I have this is because you should feel, when you see this, the seasons, you should feel like a slam dunk, because it really is. Like, you look at that look on their face, like they're pretty ecstatic, like, That's how we should feel about leadership. That's how we should feel about leading our team. That's how we should feel about parenting. That's how we should feel about our marriages. That's how we should feel about life, right? And it starts with the healthy foundation. And here's another thing. It really helps you be burnout proof, I should say, not bulletproof, burnout proof. Well, like anything else, when you come across stuff, if you're thinking about it, and you might be like, okay, Jordan, makes some sense, but, let me see here. Let's test it, right? Sounds good, Jordan. Okay, cool. Seasons, I got you. Winter coat thing, I got you. But let's test it. Let's see if it really works, Jordan. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to share a little about each season. I don't have a slide for this because I want you to listen in closely and I want you to write down notes if you can. If you don't, like I said, don't worry. I'm going to send this in a replay. You can listen to it again. But we're going to test each season. So let's say a season, like we said, the first one was a run season. Okay. Say you're in a run season. A good strategy for a run season, a leadership principle is first in, last out. You may have heard that before. First in, last out. You're the first one to show up. You're the last one to leave. That's a good strategy in a run season because you're the example. People are looking at you. You wanna see the full scope of everything going on. So you have to be there early. You have to leave late. That's a good strategy in a run season. Now, a bad strategy or a burnout strategy in a run season is empower others. Now, remember, I said that's a burnout strategy in this season. That's actually that's a good strategy. You want to empower others. But if you're in a run season and you're really trying to empower others, what you're doing is you're putting weight on your team that they're not ready to carry. Like you're the leader. That's like for me, say I'm at home and I want to do this new value stuff with the kids or put a new discipline in. But I empower my kids to lead it and take it. Like my kids are like, wait, Dad, wait, this is your idea. Like the morale drops, the motivation drops, and it burns out your team. It burns you out because you're frustrated because you're looking at the people like, come on, I'm trying to empower you. You see how it kind of happens. Now the shift is you got to trust your thoughts. In a run season, or your energy's up, you're moving, you're going around, but there's these thoughts in your mind that say, I think we got to rest. I think I got to take a break. And you got to listen to those thoughts. So that's the shift you want to be cautious of in a run season. Now, how you serve best in this season is you want to be the example. This is when you are the example. This is when all eyes are on you. People are looking at you. You're running. You're running. You're the first one in. You're the last one out, right? You're going ahead and you're trusting your thoughts and you're listening closely with yourself. Now, you are the example. So you want to make sure that that's a good example. People are learning more by what you do than what you say in this season. This is a run season. Now, next, let's test a rest season. So if you're in a rest season, a season of rest, we need to disconnect. A good strategy here is our best comes from good rest. So this is a good strategy. You want to actually give your best, so you actually have to have good rest. Now, a burnout strategy in this season is what we just covered, first in, last out. If you're in a rest season, you see what was just a good strategy and now it can work against you because you're trying to be in a rest season, but you're also trying to be the first at work and the first and you want to leave last, or you want to be the first here and the last here, and you're spent. You're done. You have to rest. So this is a good example on how a strategy in one season that's a win is actually a burnout strategy in another season. In a rest season, the shift you want to make is you want to trust your investment. You want to trust that you've invested enough in a run season. You want to trust that you've invested enough in your people. You want to trust that you've invested enough in this process that you can take a rest, that you can actually go ahead and step back and just go ahead and rest. Now we'll do two more really quickly. Now, the next one is roll. Your roll season, a good strategy for roll season, train people so good that they leave, treat them so good that they don't. Train people so good that they can leave. Like you train them so good that they can leave, but you treat them so good that they don't leave. This is a good strategy when you're in a developing season, when you're training people and you're developing leaders. A bad strategy in this season, a burnout strategy, if you're in a roll season, if you want things done, you got to do it yourself. That's not a good strategy. We'll burn out quicker because you're trying to do everything ourselves. In a run season, that strategy is good because you have to be the example. But in a roll season, it's burnout. Guys, this is huge. Like it's so important to know the season before the strategy. It's so important. In a row season, the shift you want to make is that you want to be okay with 51%. As you develop it, as you develop and you start to train other people, quality will drop because people are learning. Like the first time you did it, if I'm teaching my kid to walk, the first time they walk, they're gonna fall. So you want to be okay with 51%. It's okay. We step back, we celebrate. It's okay. We're developing people. We can't expect them to have the level that we had. We're developing them. So we want to meet them where they are and want to go. That's the shift we want to make. Now, the best way to serve in this season is that you create a safe place to grow. You have a safe place to grow where people are growing in your team too, and they're growing in your family. The last one we'll go over is the season of rejoice. Season of rejoice. A good strategy in when you're rejoicing is that what you celebrate gets repeated. So what you celebrate gets repeated. That's a good strategy. A bad strategy, we need to develop tough skin in leadership. Now that's a good point, but if you're in a rejoice season, tough skin is not what you do with your people right now. You want to pour into them and just celebrate and be like, you did awesome, right on, cool. You only missed work 5 times this week, not 10, like whatever it is. It seems crazy, but you really want to celebrate the improvement. You don't want to apply this tough skin leadership because people are fragile. And don't underestimate your words when you're pouring into people. They're fragile. In a rejoice season, they need this sense of rejoicing. They need this sense to know that what I did was seen, that what I did matters, even if they missed the mark. This is monumental to connecting your team. This is why you do it. You connect your team at this time. So you connect your team before you correct your team. That's the shift we want to make in a rejoice season. You connect your team before you correct your team. The correcting will come in what do you guess? In a row season, because you're developing. In a row season, you'll be correcting them because you'll be adjusting. But if it's the time to rejoice, it's very fragile. Your correction, the weight that you bring on them, it could break them. It could break them, right? The best way you serve in this season, you uplift, you inspire, you motivate, right? Your words have power. As a leader in your home, as a leader at work, as a leader in this community, your words have power. Your words have power. Now, after I say all of that, you should feel like this guy. If you want like this, put your hand like. You should feel like you can fly like a superhero, right? I hope you feel empowered. This makes a significant difference in every area of your life, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, it's not the weight, it's the pace of things. By being a better leader at work and a healthy foundation, we can be a better family member at home. We can contribute more to the community, and we won't be doing it at our wits' end. We won't be doing it burnt out. Here's a question. Question is this: how do I lead myself? How do I lead myself, lead well at work and business, and lead my family well? How do I do that? Answer: healthy and sustainable leadership methods. Here's another question: how do I prepare myself to be burnout proof? Answer: healthy and sustainable leadership methods. So let's recap. You see the seasons right there again in front of you. Any questions through the season, type it in the chat. We'll give a little bit of time. Any questions, any confusion? I want to make sure that we actually go ahead and answer them right now, because they may be simple, but they may be new, because like we said, no one was really talking about this before. I mean, I haven't heard much about seasons in my research so far. So any questions, I'll leave a little bit of time in there as we go ahead and get ready for our next ones here. Remember, some things to remember. The right strategy in the wrong season leads to burnout. The right strategy in the wrong season leads to burnout. Remember, you want to shift between these seasons. It's the pace, not the weight. You adjust the weight by adjusting the pace, right? Okay. I don't see no questions. Look like you guys are trucking along pretty good, so I don't see any questions. Let me make sure that I'm not missing. Sorry, I kind of. Okay, here we go. So what do we have next? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're really some good on time. Now, this is the book that I'm working on. And the reason I'm showing this is because this is where the principle comes from. The principle comes from this book. It'll actually open up this book, Leadership Secrets of a Servant Speaker. It'll open it up. And as you see, it says there, it's the winning combination. This is what I call it. The winning combination of servanthood, leadership, and speaking. You know, some people, you see some great leaders, and they're great because they lead with their intellect, with their mind. They're very smart. Some leaders are great because they lead with their heart. They connect with people really good. Some leaders are great because they lead by doing. They're a leader of action, right? What if it was combined? What if we could take everything that was great about each one and combine it? Servanthood, leadership, and speaking. It's the head, the heart, and the hand of leadership. I'll repeat that again. It's the head, the heart, and the hand of leadership. That's what this book will kind of uncover, and there'll be more principles. But today we're focused just on that, just on the seasons. Now, here's a quote from John Maxwell. And John Maxwell says that leaders aren't built in a day. They're built every day. Screenshot this or write this down if you want to. Leaders aren't built in a day. They're built every day. Now, my promises to you in the beginning was to pour out everything I could about this topic, no holding back. And I am. I got the fan on over here, and it's hot. I'm perspiring. So I'm trying to pour out everything I can, and I hope that you see that value in there. Now, please give me your honest feedback. Type 1 in the chat if you believe that I poured out everything I could about this topic at this time. Awesome. Thanks, John. Thank you. Okay, awesome. I just want you to, I really want honest feedback. That's I do my best, but at the same, I want to see if that is what you received. I see some ones in there. Okay, awesome. And if I didn't, I want you to actually go ahead and give me feedback. You know what I mean? I want honest feedback. Now, awesome. I'm glad that I see that. Now, in 60 minutes, it's the most that we really can hope for is an awareness about a topic. That's it. Maybe a shift, but the best that we can do, as much as we pour out in here, the most that we can really expect is an awareness. So I hope that you got an awareness about burnout and how serious it is. And do me a favor again, if it is more aware, maybe if there was a shift, type 2 in the chat. Let me know. Just let me know where you're at. Type 2 in the chat if you have a bit of an awareness more and there was a bit of a shift about burnout. Just the number 2. Awesome. Thanks, guys. The feedback is super helpful. Okay, fantastic. Here we go. Okay, well, with that being said, as you see right there, there's 2 things. So how we expand from that, right? How do we expand if leaders are built every day? And we just had 60 minutes right now, right? So as much as we covered in the last 60 minutes, real change comes from 2 things: consistency and accountability. We can't expect real change from one seminar, from one workshop, from one webinar, from one book, from one teaching. We can't expect real change from that. There is no magic pill, if you say, or magic whatever you want, right? There is none. Like it takes consistency and accountability, whether it's your work, whether it's home, whether it's your faith walk, right? You need to be consistent. You need accountability, right? So I don't know if you recognize it yet, but we have 70 more days to finish 2020. That's it. And we can finish strong. Now, the game isn't over. The first 3 quarters of this might have been rough, right? The first 3 quarters might have been like, oh, we're getting a butt kicked. But the game isn't over. The better you prepare, the better you pivot in the storms, right? Write that down if you want. The better you prepare, the better you pivot in the storm. So I'd like to invite you to start preparing for the best 2021 that you can have, burnout proof. If you're committed to setting healthy and sustainable steps in your leadership, I'd like to invite you to join me for the next 60 days. We'll take 10 for the holidays, but for the next 60 days, I'd like to invite you to join me. I'm going to offer a 60-minute strategy session to help discover your current season. We want to identify, this is the time I take one-on-one with you, if you're interested, and we identify your current season, and we identify the strategy, we identify the shift, and we identify the best way to serve. Like this is how you actually make it you actually take this principle and you put it right into your life, right? And I want to offer that to you. And like I said, it'll be a 60-minute strategy session. Now the next thing is, if you do this, I'll also invite you to join a community of us on a 60-day challenge to stay motivated for real change. Because like we said, consistency and accountability is where we create real change, right? So we'll have a 60-day challenge. You'll be inspired, you'll be motivated. We'll have some insight in there that we'll share, but you'll be doing it from a sense of knowing where your season is at. And then you also have a sense of knowing when to shift to the next season, right? There'll be daily encouragement, there'll be more training, and there'll be specific sessions for Q&A as we continue to unwrap this. Now, my schedule is super busy. As you said, like I have a full-time commitment. I'm working a full-time job. So I ask for your commitment also, right? I want you to commit to lead yourself from a healthier foundation. I ask that you commit to lead your family from a healthier foundation. I ask that you commit to leading your team to a healthier foundation. You deserve it. You deserve it. And ultimately, I don't want that experience that I had with burnout on anyone else or any other family. This is how you take your stance against burnout. You say no. You say no more are you going to invade, my plans and my dreams. No more are you going to take out our family members. No more are you going to burn us out and cause friction at home and cause friction in relationships. No more. No more. This is how you take that step. And like we said, you just go ahead and do that. And you might be wondering with all of that, right? What is it going to cost? Just your commitment. That's it. Now, I know that you pay attention when you pay, but I don't want nothing in the way of anyone that wants to have a healthy foundation. So for me, I just want to pour back and give back to those that are open to actually making a difference by setting a healthy foundation. This will cost absolutely nothing. There's courses that just like this and accountability that go for anywhere from $100, $200, $500, and it's nothing like that. This is completely your commitment. What I'd encourage you to do is take out whatever amount makes you a little uncomfortable, put it on the side, and pay yourself when you achieve it. Put that investment back in you, but put it aside so you feel a sense of accountability, right? All I ask is your commitment. That's it. For your commitment to be accountable, for your commitment to be consistent and setting healthy foundations. Why would I do that? Is because I know when the leader lifts the lid, everyone grows. So when the parent says no more and lifts the lid, everyone in the family benefits. When the leader at work lifts the lid and says, I'm going to be open to being consistent and accountable, everyone benefits. So by you making this commitment, you're actually blessing others in the same time. That's all for today, guys. There's a few different ways I'll put in the chat that you can actually stay connected, because some people want to know how to stay connected with different things. So I'll do that really quickly, but I'm going to stop sharing so we can open up the lines for any questions. If you have to go, we did good on the timing. It's 12:58. Thank you for spending your lunch with us here. I hope this is the best meal that your mind has ever had. I hope the appetite was ultimately like just above and beyond by having lunch with us. That's our hope here. So let me go ahead and open up the lines.